What's happening, Leeds faithful? Welcome back to the channel where we bring you the real stories from Elland Road that matter. And bloody hell, do we have some news for you today that's gonna send shockwaves through every single one of you watching this. I'm telling you now, what I'm about to reveal in the next few minutes will have you questioning everything you thought you knew about this transfer window. We're talking about a Swiss wizard who's got Daniel Farke absolutely obsessed. Crushing blow that could derail our defensive plans completely, and a bombshell exit that nobody saw coming but could fund our entire summer. Now, before we dive into this madness, if you're as passionate about Leeds United as I am, smash that like button right now, hit subscribe if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell because you do not want to miss any of these developments. The Leeds faithful deserve to know the truth. And that's exactly what we're delivering today. But here's the thing that's got me absolutely buzzing with anticipation. One of these stories involves a player who Daniel Farke has been pushing the 49ers to sign like his life depends on it. Another involves a crushing injury blow that's left our transfer plans in absolute tatters. And a third, well, the third story involves a cornerstone of our club potentially walking out the door to fund the whole bloody operation. Are you ready for this emotional roller coaster? Because what I'm about to tell you about our Swiss target will have you on the edge of your seat. Right then, Leeds faithful, let's start with the absolutely devastating news that sent shockwaves through Elland Road. We're talking about Leicester City's James Justin, a player we were this close to signing, and now it's all falling apart before our very eyes. Picture this. We've been advancing in talks for this 27-year-old right back whose contract expires at the end of the season. The Telegraph valued him at just $6 million, an absolute bargain for a player of his quality and experience. Daniel Farke was counting on Justin to solve our right back crisis, especially with Isaac Schmidt wanting to leave Elland Road. But then disaster struck in the most brutal way possible. James Justin was substituted with a knock in Leicester's 2-1 defeat to Preston North End on August 16th. And now Sky Sports journalist Zinni Boswell has revealed that Leeds are waiting to hear back on the severity of the injury before making any decision. Can you believe this timing, Leeds faithful? We were in advanced negotiations. Everything was progressing perfectly. And then Leicester decided to play him in a championship match, knowing full well we were trying to sign him. Daniel Farke must be absolutely livid with the Foxes for risking our target like that. Think about what this means for our defensive plans. We've already missed out on Bournemouth's Max Aarons, who's gone to Rangers on loan, and now our primary right back target might be ruled out by injury. With only 2 weeks left in the transfer window, we're back to square one, frantically searching for alternatives. This is exactly the kind of setback that could define our entire Premier League campaign. Daniel Farke needed defensive reinforcement, the 49ers were ready to back him with $6 million for Justin, and now we might have to scramble for more expensive alternatives or stick with what we've got. But here's where it gets even more intense. While we're dealing with this defensive nightmare, there's massive news brewing about an attacking target that could change everything. Leeds faithful, if you thought the Justin blow was emotional, wait until you hear what Daniel Farke has been saying behind the scenes. This is where our manager has completely lost his cool and is basically begging the 49ers to back him before it's too late. Iconic football commentator Ian Darke has exclusively revealed to MOT Leeds News that Daniel Farke has been very vociferous and is going public at every opportunity, telling the board that they desperately need more attacking signings. Can you hear the desperation in that? Our manager is clearly worried sick about our ability to stick the ball in the back of the net. Here's what Darke said that'll send chills down your spine. He is clearly worried about their ability to stick the ball in the back of the net. If you cannot stick the ball in the back of the net, that is a pretty big issue if you're trying to stay afloat in the division. Think about this for a second, Leeds faithful. Daniel Farke has made it crystal clear that Patrick Bamford is not part of their plans. They've let Mateo Joseph go to Real Mallorca, and now our manager is publicly demanding that the 49ers bring in 1 or 2 more attackers, including maybe one fairly big one. This isn't just transfer talk. This is a manager who's seen what we're up against in the Premier League, and he's genuinely terrified that we don't have enough firepower. Dan James and Joe Pyro proved themselves at championship level. but Daniel Farke clearly has huge question marks over whether they can cut it in the top flight. The pressure is absolutely mounting on the 49ers enterprises. They've brought in Dominic Calvert-Lewin on a free transfer, but Darkey warns that if they fail to add sufficient quality to the front end of the pitch, it could be a very long season for supporters. And here's the terrifying truth. Daniel Farke is so worried that he's making these demands public because he knows what happened last time Leeds went down. He's seen the writing on the wall, and he's desperately trying to prevent another relegation disaster. But while Farke's fighting for attacking reinforcements, there's another story brewing that could solve our financial problems in the most shocking way possible. Right, Leeds faithful? Brace yourselves, because this final story is the one that could change everything about our transfer strategy. We're talking about a player Daniel Farke once called a cornerstone of our future, a player who's worn the captain's armband and someone whose potential exit could fund our entire summer's spending spree. Pascal Struijk, our Dutch defender who's been absolutely crucial to our success, is now being targeted by La Liga giants Villarreal. Peter O'Rourke reports that the 2021 Europa League winners have made Struijk a target before the transfer window closes, and this comes after months of speculation about his future at Elland Road. Here's what's got everyone talking. Struijk wasn't present at Leeds' kit launch, which sent alarm bells ringing throughout the fan base. And then we signed Xhaka Bijol, and now Sebastian Bornau has arrived. Suddenly our Dutch captain might be looking at his place in the pecking order and thinking it's time for a new challenge. The PSR situation has been hanging over our heads all summer, and Pascal Struijk has been earmarked as one of the primary sales Leeds could make to raise funds. Graham Smith has raised fresh concerns, Adam Pope has been worried about his future for months, and the noise simply isn't going away. Think about this from Struijk's perspective. He's 26 years old, he's been a cornerstone of this club. But with Bijol and Bornau arriving, plus our financial pressures, maybe he's thinking this is the perfect time to test himself in La Liga with a club that reached the Champions League semi-finals just a few years ago. And here's the kicker. Leeds faithful. Villarreal played us in pre-season at Elland Road. They've seen Struijk up close, they know exactly what kind of player they're getting, and they've clearly been impressed enough to make him a target. But here's where it connects to Daniel Farke's desperate pleas for attacking reinforcements. The transfer fee for Struijk could be the key to funding the one fairly big signing that Farke is begging for. It could solve our James Justin problem by giving us the money to pursue more expensive alternatives. This could be the domino effect that saves our entire Premier League campaign. Daniel Farke called him a cornerstone back in 2023-24, saying he's a cornerstone for our future. But sometimes even cornerstones have to be sacrificed for the greater good of the club's survival in the Premier League. Leeds faithful, what an absolutely mental few days this has been at Elland Road. We're dealing with a crushing injury blow to our defensive target that's left Daniel Farke scrambling for alternatives. Our manager is publicly begging the 49ers for attacking reinforcements because he's genuinely terrified we'll go down without him. And one of our most trusted players might be heading to Spain to fund the whole operation. If you've made it this far, you're a true member of the Leeds faithful, and I need you to show your support right now. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already, and most importantly, get down to the comments and tell me, would you take Pascal Struijk leaving if it means we can fund the attackers that Daniel Farke is desperately crying out for? Are we making the right moves to stay in the Premier League, or are we gambling with our future by ignoring our manager's public pleas? The next 2 weeks are going to be absolutely crucial for our season, and every single decision the 49ers make could be the difference between Premier League survival and another heartbreaking relegation. Daniel Farke has laid it on the line. He cannot survive without more signings, and now it's up to the ownership to deliver. What do you think, Leeds faithful? Should the 49ers listen to Daniel Farke's desperate warnings and splash the cash? Or are we about to make the same mistakes that have haunted us for years? Drop your thoughts below, because this is our club and your voice matters, marching on together.